I'm going to switch gears here. This is probably a couple months ago. You mentioned something to me in a conversation we're having, and this is some area that I'm particularly interested because I may or may not at some point do this. But you said you've taken ayahuasca.
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you about that. One, where did this? Did you go to like Peru and do it in the kind of traditional context, or how did that come about?
First place I did it was Oregon.
Okay.
I went up to Oregon to do it. I had a friend up there, so I just stayed with them. And it was kind of a 50-50 thing. I was curious about it. And I also wanted to see my friends, so I did it. And it was the first time was kind of weird because I felt great while doing it, and then something happened where, like, I got this like weird head thing, like it was like a spinning head thing, and it lasted for about, I want to say 48 hours, and I couldn't sleep for 48 hours, and then. So ayahuasca is a lot to do with death. It's a lot to do with facing your own mortality. A lot of people do it. A lot of people do it when they have terminal diseases to confront their fear of death, so they can live more thoroughly. I don't know if I need to explain everything about it first. Okay.
Please do.
So it's a tea. Kind of, tea is a very generous word. It tastes like utter shit, and it tastes worse every time you do it. The first time it's like a fruity little, it's almost like wine. It's like a little fruity thing, so it's not so bad. And then the next time it gets worse. It's not like you get used to it. It gets worse and worse, and you smell it and your body shudders because you know what it's in for. It's a very intense thing. It's not something it's not a party drug. I'll put it that way.
Right.
I've heard people doing it at parties. It sounds like the fucking dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. So it's this tea from South America, all over South America. A lot of people use it in religious rituals. It's very, very old. Ayahuasca means vine of the dead, something like that. Tree of the dead, vine of the dead. A lot of them believe it's a female. A lot of the shamans, the traditional shamans, believe it to be a female spirit that comes into your body and teaches you things. So it's a lot to do with teaching and a lot to do with death and the death process. And people use it, I guess you could use it just for exploration, self-exploration. A lot of people use it to get over issues, depressions, fears, anxieties, get over the past. Apparently it's very good for that. I don't know what I did it for, but I was just interested. I don't think you really need to know. If you feel like doing it, and you really feel like doing it, it's something that stays with you, it's a desire that stays with you, then by all means do it. It's pretty safe, as far as I know. There is a very strong physical component in that you will shit your brains out possibly and vomit your brains out possibly. There's always vomit cans next to you. Setting is very, very important. You need to do it in a place where you're comfortable, and I would advise having shamans and stuff, or at least a watcher, someone watching you. Nature is a good place to go. It seems more forgiving in nature. So anyway, I kind of lost track. There's so much going on with ayahuasca.
So far we're at, it's more or less a tea, comes from South America, not very fun in its process.
Yeah.
High potential for shit and vomit.
Yes.
Good for kind of self-exploration and overcoming.
It's also good
issues.
for, I think, physical. I mean, it's hard, once you do it, you realize it's hard to divorce mental processes from physical processes. So the hallucinations, which is what a lot of people do it for, it's kind of, you can put it in the category of mushrooms and acid and stuff like that, because you do hallucinate, you do see things, and it does change your consciousness. You're in a completely different consciousness. You're in a different plane of living, and I can tell you stories about that later too. But there's also a strong physical component. It's a very body. It's a strong body thing. Some people, I think, maybe more mental. They see lights and they see eagles and they see crocodiles. I didn't. Even when I did it in Peru, I didn't see all that stuff. For me, it was a very strong physical component. And I think as a physical detox, detoxing from toxins, but also detoxing from old emotions, old, bad relationships, these things stay in your body. Traumas is what they call it, right? These things stay in your body, and I think that your body reacts to these what were mental issues in a physical way, and it creates diseases and toxins and all sorts of crazy stuff, all sorts of things that
psychosomatic illnesses
that become very much more somatic. They start off psycho and they finish off very somatic. And I don't think our Western medicine knows a lot about that. They know a little bit, but they don't really know the full extent of that. So in that regard, they also call it a medicine. You know, they say that this is a medicine, and I would say it's a medicine too, physically. So having said all that, for whatever reason, I went up to Oregon and did it. It was cool. It was fun. I was laughing a lot. I did it with like a bunch of 7 or 8 other people that I didn't know in a ranch somewhere up in Oregon. It was really fucking cool. We got out. I remember getting out of the ceremony room. We did it with a couple of shamans from Peru who'd flown over. And I remember getting out to take a break and get a breath of fresh air. And it was a cold, sunny day in Oregon. And if you've ever been to Oregon, it can be incredibly beautiful. There are pine trees everywhere, giant pine trees. I remember just looking at it and just never having appreciated the majesty of nature in that way, and just having that moment and seeing that and realizing that this is how humans are meant to live. You know, we are so divorced from our natural world, and we are meant to return there. We will return there. We come from there and we will return there. We are not separate from nature. That's what we are. And you feel yourself as the same kind of essence as that beauty that you see out there. That is your essence. I remember I also used to be kind of scared of bees when I was a kid, because I got stung a couple times and had bad reactions. And I remember a bee coming over to me, and I looked at it the same way as I look at my dog. I swear. The bee came over to me. I put my hand out to pet it, and it came over and like sniffed me and then ran off. And it wasn't until after that I realized that A, I wasn't scared, and B, I treated that bee like a dog. Like it came over and had a little sniff and then wandered off. And I was like, fucking strange. I don't usually do that. If I see a bee, usually I try and swat that one. So it changes your perception on stuff. It makes you more kind of childlike and innocent, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But as that wore off the first time, I told you about this kind of weird head thing I got, and I couldn't sleep for 2 days. And I remember thinking at the end of 2 days, I was like, can I die from not sleeping for 2 days straight? Like, is something drastically wrong with me here? Like, is this stuff going to kill me? And as soon as I thought that thought, because I had spent that ayahuasca ceremony dealing with death and the reality of death and what it is, and you know, the fact that it's an illusion to some extent at least. As soon as I had that thought, I slept like a baby, and I woke up the next day, and I was for about 7 days straight after that, I was on a constant buzz, constant high. Like I barely needed to eat, I barely needed to sleep. I had energy for days. I was nicer to people were nicer to me. I was like doing favors for homeless people in the street. You know, it was a great week, honestly.
Sounds like it.
And then it faded a little bit. And then once I got out of college, it was about, fast forward maybe a year or so. Once I got out of college, I had a rough time, because I was like, what do I do now in my life? I was fighting a bit, but I didn't want to do it as a career. Not at that time. And I was just quite questioning things. I didn't know. I just felt like I had no purpose. I was kind of floating about. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna change things up a little bit. And then literally I quit my job and I took my savings. I went to Peru with a girl. That was a whole nother drama which I'm not going to talk about. But I went with a friend, and we flew out to the jungles of Peru, and then I did it again there at a special retreat center, essentially. But we didn't book it here. We went to the jungles of Peru and then found it there.
Okay.
and this was way inside the jungle. Like, you get to the airport part of it, and then you take a boat like 1 hour up the Amazon deep into the jungle, which in and of itself was amazing. Even without the ayahuasca, was in and of itself was, everyone should do that. Everyone, like, we were like, you know, you could hear the monkeys and the parrots and stuff. We would go swimming in the Amazon River with I forgot what they're called. I think they're called pink dolphins. Ugly, really ugly. Yeah, really ugly dolphins, but like cool still. Like, we were swimming with piranhas and dolphins and stuff in the Amazon River. Like, it was, and then coupling that with the ayahuasca as well was like one of the best. I don't want to say best because it wasn't necessarily all fun and games. There were some really rough times, but like one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had personally. And I think a lot of people would probably have the same feeling.
Let me stop you for a second. I don't want to detour you. I want you to continue. But so I found this out later in life. I actually was present for an ayahuasca ceremony when I was like 14, but didn't know it. So my mother was very hippie-ish, right? So all of that kind of stuff kind of interested me, right? And my biological father is from Peru, and I'd gone out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's Acevedo?
That's where that comes from. Yeah. There's actually a reasonable size black population in Peru.
I think there are places where
where it's kind of everyone kind of congregates to that one area.
South America.
Yeah. So, anywho, I go out there for about 4 months to go visit that side of my family, and my dad is like, "All right, it's me, his current wife at the time, and my little brother through him, right?" Yeah. So it's 4 of us all together. It's like, all right, well, we're going to go on this trip. I'm going to go see like a shaman, right? And so I'm like, all right, cool. That sounds really cool. So we go, we take this really, really raggedy, sketchy as fuck looking bus. And we go, and it had to have been a few hours on some really, really raggedy, sketchy as fuck mountainous roads. Beautiful fucking setting. Like, as far as the aesthetics and the natural beauty of it, fucking A1. But there's quite a few times where the bus is just rumbling, and there's 6 inches, maybe a foot from the edge of the bus and where the road kind of turns and drops off into a cliff. And we finally get down there, and they have these little huts. Isn't quite the right word, but there's small rooms. And so his wife at the time and my little brother, who had to have been, I don't know, maybe like 8 or something at the time, they stayed in there. They allowed me to come. I obviously was not allowed to partake. I didn't know what, I just knew they were doing a ceremony. I wanted to see what it was. So I wasn't allowed to partake of the ayahuasca. What's that?
What area is this?
I don't know where we went to, but my family stays in Callao. Okay. I don't think we got that deep into the jungles. Okay. I don't remember any like howling monkeys or anything like that. But we were definitely in a natural setting. Yeah. We weren't in the city. Yeah. But yeah, they gather around, and dude starts, singing his ayahuasca song and starts blowing smoke and doing the whole thing. And then at some point they're like, "All right, dude, you gotta go now. It's time to go back to the hut." Yeah. So I didn't know what that was, though. I just thought it was okay. That was cool. Years down the line, I'm listening to Joe Rogan, and I hear about ayahuasca. I'm like, wait a minute, I did a shamanistic thing in Peru, and I got in contact with my biological father. I was like, "Is that what we did?" He's like, "Yeah, it is." So that just came to mind. But continue, please continue with.
The thing you said about the journey was all Ricky, because I had the same experience. We got in this boat. It was this shitty little boat for the hour thing, and then like out of nowhere there's a rainstorm and lightning and thunder. And lightning's cool when you're in the city because it's like far away or whatever. You don't really get it in LA. In England we get it a lot more, and it's cool. There's thunder and lightning and stuff. And it's lightning, and then like 10 seconds later there's the thunder. This was immediate lightning and thunder at the same time. It was like it couldn't have been more than 20 meters away from us. And when you that was the setting that set us up for this, because we were already kind of nervous. Like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Like, I just decided, and I'd taken this girl, I'm now responsible for this girl too, and I'm going into the middle of the jungle. I don't know who these people are, I have no idea. And that was the setting of the ayahuasca ceremony, you know. That was the whole trip, you know. I can't divorce the drug, if you want to call it, the substance, the medicine, from the surroundings and the setting. You know? There's no way that you can say they're separate, and that's something that you start to realize when you do these things, and you start to experiment with consciousness, you start to play with consciousness, as you realize that nothing is divorced, nothing is separate, really. Everything is at one with the other thing. There's no, you say, oh well, you know, that's why even with fighting, when you say, oh well, you know, if he ducked more, that's that's good as tactics go, but you know, if he'd worked on his slip, that the fight went the way the fight went, and that's the only way it can go. And same thing with our lives, right? Our lives went the way our lives went, and it led us to this point, and there's no way it could have been any way different, you know. So that's why, you know, it also taught me not to have any regrets, because everything is the way it is. You couldn't have done it you couldn't have said anything different, you couldn't have done anything different. Everything kind of is interrelated with everything else. You can't separate this from that.